This is going to be the inspection process for a 2-ply bag, meaning 2 plies. There's 2 plies of paper, your outer ply and your inner ply. You will inspect these as you're fanning through the bottoms just as you would any other bag. You're looking for any abnormalities. You want to make sure all the bags, the bottoms are uniform and they look good. Some of the defects that you may see as you're flipping through the bags, you may see something like this. Of course, we'd want to discard that. Again, this will have enough glue on it to tack it to the bag that's behind it when it comes through. So meaning, when you pull that out, you want to pull the next bag out behind it, or you could possibly get this. The bags will be stuck together. Another common defect you will have as you're inspecting, you want to make sure on the sides of the bag that there is enough glue, or enough room for the glue not to squeeze out. As you can see on this bag here, there's enough room that there's no glue is going to squeeze out. If it's too close, you'll see something like this. You'll see where I've got the arrow pointed. You cannot fold that bag back like you can this one. So this one's good. This one will be the bag, the glue will be too close, and there's a good chance when that glue squeezes out, those bags will be tacked together, especially when we put them in our press and it puts pressure on them. If there's any glue that could squeeze out, as you can see, there's a real good chance for that to be tacked together. Another defect you could see is no bottom glue at all. As you can see here, that has a good tear to it. A good fiber tear is what we call here. This one, as you can see, has no glue on it. Alright, that's the difference. Another defect you could possibly see as you're flipping through the bags is called an open seam. As you can see, the edge of the paper here did not fold underneath. The seam did not fold correctly when this bag went through the former. So here is incorrect. This is correct. And sometimes it's really hard to see, especially a white on white bag, meaning here that's all white, it don't transition to a different color. You can see the flap of the seam here, and you can't see it here. That's called an open seam. Another defect you'll see is what's called stretch holes. As you open the bag up, it should be no deformities in it. As you can see in this one, in this top corner here, if I pull that back, I can see that hole in that bag. Now what would happen there, if this bag gets to our customer and it gets filled full of flour, of course that's going to sift out of that, the flour is going to sift out of that hole. Alright, so again, stretch holes, and the only way you can see it is lifting the corners up. Okay, now this one's pretty exaggerated here. Sometimes they're just smaller, but they'll always be in those corners here. So you want to make sure that you open them back up, open the corners up, and look inside of them to make sure there's no holes, like that one right there. One more time on the open seams here. You can see the flap of the bag is not tucked under, where this one's correct. This is incorrect here. This one is correct. Missing or no bottom glue, when you pull it up, if it don't have enough adhesive, it might pull just a little bit of fiber, but it should look just like this one. As you open that bag up, you have a good fiber tear all the way around. As you can see in this one, there's nothing. The open bottoms again, here, that's pretty self-explanatory there. And again, if there'll be enough glue on this pad, or on the bag, because the bottom pad hits here, there'll be enough transfer. The bag that's behind that, there'll be enough glue on it to stick them together. And when they get to our customer, when they try to pull them apart, it won't work. They'll be stuck, and their machine will pull both bags apart instead of just as a single bag like they need. Your tear down of the bag, again, you've looked and made sure everything's good here. Same thing on the bottoms. You want to make sure there's good enough room on the bottom. Now again, this is a 2-ply bag. All right, we got something called spot paste that holds these two plies together. And as I pull this back, you can see what I'm talking about here. You have two plies of paper, outer ply and inner ply. You want to make sure there's enough room between these also where no glue can squeeze out. If glue will squeeze out in this area here, that will cause it to tack to the bag that's behind it. Again, causing a problem with our customer. So you want to make sure there's enough room between your outer ply and also on your inner ply. As you pull these apart, that's the spot glue as I was talking about earlier. This is what's holding this flap down. Okay, that's its only purpose, is to hold this to this bag. Now you'll have glue on the inner ply here. This is what seals the bag. All right, so it's important that you have glue on both here and here. All of our glue has a UV indicator that comes in it. On our inspection tables at the machine, there's a UV light, or some people call them a black light, that's mounted above the inspection table. When you're looking at that bag, you can see any of the glue here that's on it. Now it's really important. It's kind of hard to see on the white, but when I open this bag up, I want to make sure that there's no glue close to the edges, to the inside of this. I don't want any glue in that area right here, because if there is, there's a good chance it can seep through and get on the inside of the bag. Now when you open this bag up, you can use the UV light to see if there's any glue inside there. If there's any glue here, it will show up and glow, sort of like that right there does, just like that. So you open that bag up and you look on the inside to make sure there's no seam glue, or no bottom glue, excuse me, coming out real close. So again, make sure you have enough clearance. Just keep in mind, anywhere there's glue, you want to have enough clearance where it doesn't squeeze out where it's applied to. So on this section right here, you make sure there's no glue that's real close to the inner section of the bag. On the outer seam, you want to make sure there's no glue that's going to be real close to the outer edge. This one's good. You want to have at least 1/8 of an inch clearance here. All right, this is just a little close, but that's normal right there. But 1/8 of an inch is what you want. If you have it too far over, it'll have a big flap here, and sometimes that causes problems with their customers when it runs through their machinery. That flap will catch on some of their equipment. So you don't want a great old big flap. Somewhere around 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, just like that right there. The same thing on the inner ply. When you look at the bag, you want to have at least 1/8 to 1/4. You can see this one's a little much, but that's fine. It's not going to hurt anything on the inside of that bag. If there's glue too close to the edge, it'll be just like the ones that I had earlier, if I can find one. Here, where it's too close to the edge, where you won't be able to flip it back, it'll be the same thing here. You won't be able to fold that back. You won't have any kind of lap, okay? You'll try to fold it back and it'll be really close and you won't be able to do it. So you want that paper to stand up. The same thing on the outside, on the inside. You don't want that paper to be really close to the edge. And I'll show you what that will cause on a different bag. This bag here, this is the inside seam. As you look on the outside seam, it was fine. That's the way it should be. Just like that there. Now on the inside seam, it was too close. As you can see, I can't push that lap back. I'm going to take my black light. You may be able to see the glue there. It's kind of hard for me to open that bag up without unsticking it. But there, you can see where the glue is squeezing out the inside of that lap. And what that causes, that bag won't open. It's stuck down in here inside there. You can see how this side of the bag opened up fine. This side is stuck shut. That's because the glue was too close to the inside lap. So you want to make sure again that you have plenty enough clearance on the inside, just like that bag right there. Now, you're further going to tear this bag apart. Again, pulling that to the side. You don't want to rip it down. You're going to pull it to the side, making sure you have good fiber tear all the way down the bag. Just like that right there. That's what we want. Okay. Now again, you got spots in the bottom, the spot glue we talked about earlier that holds these bottom pieces together. And you also have spot glue that holds the top pieces together. As you can see, that's them right there. They will go all the way around the perimeter of the bag. And as you're tearing this bag apart, you also want to make sure that the spot glue, I'll demonstrate on this bag. As you pull this back, you're making sure that there's not any of these spots here that's really close to the edge. You want again to have at least an 1/8, quarter inch or so away from the top of the bag. You don't want that glue squeezing out the tops of it. That can do two things. That can stick to the bag behind it or in front of it, and it can also stick the bag together and won't let it open up. So again, make sure there's enough room all the way around that, just like this in right here is. Just like that. That's the proper location for that glue to be. Again, you don't want nothing squeezing out. That's the most important thing when you're making a bag. Because all of our customers, most of our complaints is glue either in the wrong location or it's not there. Okay, so there's another part of the bag you can look at in the gussets. We've got something called a false gusset, and what that'll be, as you're looking at this bag, if you see where these two plies and that fold, they come together. All right, if you have a false gusset, now this is on a 2-ply bag and also a 3-ply bag, these will not be touching each other. I will try to mimic that and show you. It's kind of hard to do that, but you'll have a gap when they fold together. Something, if I can do this, I should have had one already. Like that. When that bag, instead of it being tight together, it'll be a loose edge right here, and you can actually see, you'll see a hole right there where they don't come together good and tight. It'll have a gap in here. That takes away from your seam. That'll put that glue closer to the edge, and plus there's a good chance when this bag is filled where that's not a good tight bond, it will actually bust the corners of the bag, the insides of the gusset. So again, it's called a false gusset. And as you look at the bag, it'll be nested good and tight together, just like these right here are. Continue on with your tear down. Once you open the bag up, you'll tear it back completely apart, just like that right there. You're going to look for any holes in the corners of the bag, on your outer ply, and also on your inner ply. Now, as you can see, 2-ply bag, actually 2 bags into one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this seam and take it apart too. Open it up all the way. Looking for holes in the corners and anywhere it folds. You can hold it up to the light, and if there's a hole in the bag, you'll see it through the light. We're going to talk about the V-fold inspection. What we're talking about V-fold is where you take the bottom of the bag and you'll fold it up, and it should meet flush with each other. Here, just like these two right here do. All right. To mimic one that's not going to be right, of course, it will be something in that general area. As you fold the bag up, they won't meet. As you can see how these two are off, they don't touch each other. You want them square. What this will cause, that'll be the bottom is out of square. So when it gets to our customer and they fill that bag up, when they try to stand it up, it will lean one way or the other when the bag is full if the V-fold is off. So again, you want to make sure that it's good and square. Another thing you look for as you're doing your eye bundle inspection, making sure you'll have your stack of bags, okay? You want to make sure they're not tacked anywhere on the inside. So you're just going to open up some individual bags, and they should open up just like these right here do. If they're tacked, as you try to open it up, it'll pull both of them together and they'll be stuck together. Mostly you'll only see that on the seam side, and that's caused by either too much seam glue or it's not being spread out, so that it'll be tacked together here. So as you try to open it up, as you grab that bag and open it, they'll be stuck, and it'll do that right there. They'll come apart. But again, sometimes our customers, their equipment won't pull that bag apart, and you'll pull both the plies together, and that won't let it fill the product into the bag. So again, as you're doing your eye bundle inspection, you want to make sure that that bag opens up on each one of them here, just like that.